Hello, my name's Joel. I wanted to do a review of my Greenworks Optimus Z electric lawnmower. I bought this back this past April. It's 2023 this year. My neighbor Tom, he has a gas powered zero turn, and he would always cut my grass, and it always did such a great job, and he let me use it a couple times, and that sold me on going to like a zero turn. But I wanted something that I didn't have to buy gas for or do a bunch of maintenance on, and worry about hydraulics and all that kind of stuff. So I start investigating electric zero turns. I looked at some of the residential units, and they were nice. There was that Ego ZTS, I think it was, which was really nice. But what I didn't like is, you had all these batteries you had to plug in, and you had to charge individually, and the unit only would cut like 4 acres, and I cut anywhere from it goes anywhere from 3 to 6 acres based on how much of my neighbors I do, and of course my yard. And so that ZTS would not cut it, no pun intended, without having to charge batteries. So I thought, I'm going to look at some commercial units, and I looked at the Gravely EV Pro. It was new this year. It was a really nice unit. And I also looked at what was the other company? It was called the Mean Machine Rival, I think it was. Mean Machine Rival. Really nice units, but those were a lot more expensive than this one. So I started digging in and looking at the specs of this unit, and I really like what I saw. It really fits my need. You can buy these units in 2 battery flavors, 18 kilowatt and 24 kilowatt batteries. The 18 will cut, I think it's up to 16 acres, and the 24 will do up to 21 acres. And then you can get these machines in 60-inch, 52-inch, which is the unit that I bought, 52-inch, and 48-inch. So they got a lot of nice combinations. And the battery technology, it's LFP battery. I don't know if you follow any of the battery technologies. Those are really highly stable. There's not problems with temperature runaways. And you need that for the environments that these cut in, right? It has a wide range of cutting temperatures, and it's a solid battery. The warranty on these machines is just phenomenal. You get 5 years or 2,000 hours. I'll run out of years before I run out of hours. And I was doing some research, and the actual lifetime rating of these batteries and these machines is 6,000 hours. So the machine will fall apart probably before the battery goes bad. So there's no concerns about that. So let's get into it a little bit here and find out about this machine and what I like about it. So what can I tell you about this machine? I mean, the most important thing about a lawnmower is its deck, right? So this is a fabricated deck. It's 7 gauge, so it's going to be hard to really damage this thing. When I was first getting used to cutting with this, I got a little bit too close to a boulder, and it nicked it on the side there, but it did not damage the unit, and it actually pushed the boulder out of the way. So it's definitely heavy duty. It's got 5 electric motors, 3 associated with the deck itself. You can see the mowers in there, or the motors for turning the blades, and then it has a motor on each of the back wheels. And what's cool about this is they're all independent systems. They're all hooked on what's called a CAN bus, and they all communicate. The computer communicates with all this stuff to keep it running like it should run. And the combined power of all these motors is equivalent to like 65 horsepower. So that's a lot of horsepower on a machine like this compared to a gas power zero turn, which is 28 to 35 horsepower. So let's talk maintenance. There's virtually very little maintenance on this machine. I mean, I think the manual says every 500 hours you grease here, here, and then you grease in these wheels. So there's a grease fitting on each of these front wheels. And it's nice, they put the type in where they angle it out to make it easy to get the grease gun on there, you know, to put the grease in. That's it as far as maintenance. Of course, the only other piece of maintenance would be obviously to keep your blades sharp. And you can kind of see I got about, maybe, I don't know, 32 hours on my blades or something, and they're still really nice and sharp. It has a very good range of deck settings from 1 inch all the way up to 5 inch, and everything in between in 1/4 inch segments. It has this nice back plate on it, so you can carry up to 250 pounds worth of stuff, you know, bags of seed or soil or whatever, if you're doing some project. Let's talk towing. I mean, this has a tow hook in the back for hauling a trailer around, which came in handy for various projects. It also has a 2-inch hitch in the front, and that came in really handy when I got this unit stuck in the mud. I just hooked up my ball on there, and I tied it to my Jeep, and I just pulled the unit, you know, right out of the mud. But the other reason for this, according to the literature of Greenworks, is there's going to be attachments you can put on this thing, such as I've heard plows and blower units and things like that. Let's talk storage. You can put some things down in here. Your phone goes down in there. This needed to be a little bit deeper. I have an S22, and it's just high enough where this rests on top of the phone as opposed to latching. 2 different sizes of cup holders for your beverages. So let's talk power. I mean, for the residential units, they give you these battery packs that you have to plug in. So where would you do that here? There aren't any battery packs for this unit, but the battery is actually permanently sealed underneath the seat here. So what's cool about that is you don't have to mess with pulling batteries out, putting them in chargers, and then plugging them back in, running out. You got this permanently sealed battery, and all you do at the end of the day when you're done cutting is just plug it into its charger, which I'll show you in a little bit. So let's talk seat comfort. This is a massive seat. It's very, you know, very well built, thick cushion on it. These nice armrests here, and it's adjustable. It'll go back and forth by about it seems like around 6 inches. So if I reach this lever here, pull it right back. So you got, you know, for tall guys, you can put the seat back, and for short guys, you know, you can move it forward. And then you got this nice dial to dial in your weight, so you can go all the way down to 100 pounds up to 280 pounds. So you put in your weight, and there's some spring that adjusts in there, so it makes it comfortable for when you're hitting bumps and that type of thing. Of course, the seat has you know, a seat belt right here, so you can strap yourself in, which you wouldn't want to strap yourself in if you don't have the rollover protection system, the ROPS they call it in the manual, up, because in that case you want to be able to get off the machine if it were to roll. So let's talk about were to roll. I mean, can you roll this machine? It's got such a low center of gravity because this heavy battery underneath the seat that you can do some pretty good angles on it without having to worry about you know, the thing tipping over on you. My yard's fairly flat, but there is one section that I'm going to show you right now. This is the biggest slope that I got in my property, and I can ride up right on the side of this, and it doesn't feel like the machine's going to tip or anything. It just handles it. So this is probably the only other section of my yard I where there's a slope that you want to be confident on the machine that it's not going to tip over, because in this case, if I tipped over, I'd end up in the pond. So one thing about this rollover protection system is it gets in the way, especially when you're going underneath trees and stuff like that. I think most people, at least residential users like me, it's more of a hindrance than a help because of the type of property I have. But it's nice. You don't have to like undo bolts or anything like that. You just take these things out right here, and then you just put this thing down, put these back in, and it's out of the way. And you can see how fast I was able to do that, less than 20 seconds. The anti-scalp wheels on this deck, they're just massive. I mean, look at the size of the, this mounting thing. And the nice thing too is, if you could damage this, if you did, these are all bolted in, so you could easily replace this. So one thing I noticed about people who have zero turns is they always have this chute up and out of the way. And the other thing is with it down, you're adding this extra width, and you're going through some beds, and you're like, scraping through your bedding material, which is no good. So first thing I did when I got this was take this off, which is really easy to do. It's just, you loosen up this bolt right here, and then you just pull this thing out, and you're done. There's actually another reason why I have to take this off, is I store this in my back shed, and the width of the doors was such that with this thing on, I'd always have to hold it up, but it would still hit, and it wasn't good on the mechanics of the shed. So that's why I took it off. So now it exactly will fit into that shed. This feature is kind of interesting. On the old tractors, they had a PTO where you could put different attachments on the tractor to drive different things. And what they have here is, they call it an ETO. And I don't have anything to plug into this as of yet, but they have a cord you can get that's like, I think it's 25 foot long, and you can power it into, or plug it into this, and then the other end plugs into your Greenworks tools, like your trimmer, your chainsaw, that type of things, your blower. Kind of handy, and then you don't need to have the heavy battery pack in those things when you do it this way. So pretty clever. I suspect when they do have the plow, it'll probably have an electric drive that you plug into that to be able to angle the plow through some kind of electric control mechanism. So it's pretty innovative. I have to give Greenworks a lot of credit for that. Okay, let's talk controls of this machine. You got your on-off button. You got a key, so if you don't want anybody to mess with it, you take your key out, put your key in, you turn it on. Now the unit's ready to run. I could start driving it now, and it's silent basically until you engage the motor. Then you'll hear a little bit. Let me do that right now. So as far as speed control, there's 4 settings. There's at the top, it's you can go up to 16 miles per hour. That one you can go up to 12 miles per hour. That one you can go up to 8 miles per hour and 4 miles per hour. Why is that important? The higher miles per hour you set it for, it's more touchy of controls. So you have to be really good at controlling the machine, because at the higher speeds, it, like I say, it's very touchy. I usually run it right about here. It's a good combination of speed and controllability. And then as far as the blade is concerned, like I said, there's 4 settings there. I usually run mine right about there. If it's wet, I'll kick it up, or if I'm doing the front yard and I want it to look really fine, you know, I'll run it at the max speed. And you want to do that, of course, if you're in a really thick grass or really wet grass. You want to run at the maximum. It uses more power, but you still have plenty of battery. I've cut on the highest speed. I think it was like 6 acres, and when I was done, the battery was only down to 62%. It's pretty impressive. So I'm going to turn the blades on so you can hear what they sound like. Let's start at the lowest setting. And then we'll turn it up from there. Of course, this is your PTO for engaging the blades. Push it down to stop it, pull it up to start them. Some other controls on this are you can go in at when you're cutting your grass. It'll tell you how much area did you cut, and how long were you cutting, and what was the average speed that you're cutting at. And then other things you can look at are, of course, this. If you look in the manual for this this machine, I think about 30 pages of the manual are error codes with description of what the error is and what the remedy is. So that's really good from that standpoint. But here it's telling you I don't have any errors. And then you can control things like the brightness of your screen. It gets pretty bright. You can really see it well yet, even in bright daylight at 25%. You can do preferences, whether you like Fahrenheit or centigrade. You can go in a metric for the temperature, and then you can display these things in English, Spanish, or French. And what else is there? So you can look at your statistics. It tells you how many hours total the machine has run and how many total hours of that was cutting. And then you can reset that timer, which you would correspond that when you sharpen your blades or you replace your blades. And then the last thing is traction controls. I've used this before. It really didn't help. I mean, once these machines get stuck, they're stuck, and you have to pull them out of wherever you're at. That's been my experience, at least. But you can turn that on, and it keeps it going really, really slow. And supposedly it gets you out of... I shouldn't say it doesn't work. I have used it and got out of a situation, but it seemed like the majority of the time I had to pull the thing out of a rut. Well, let's take a look at the lights. You can turn the lights on here, and let's see what they look like. Yeah, the machine is really well lit. It's this LED lighting, and you got this bar along the front here, and then you got the two on the one on the left and one on the right. And I've cut when it's been almost dark, and it really throws good light around so you can see what's going on. And then there's a light on the roll bar there too, which casts light up high. So it's very well illuminated. Let's take a look at the back. So in the back, there's a light on the roll bar, so you got some light thrown behind you. Plus, you got the red lights to let you know it's a danger zone. But it's nice because that light that's up on top there, when you're backing up at night, you can still see. And of course, you could put on your flashers too, and let's see what that looks like. Kind of like a little strobe effect, so if there's people in the area, you'll kind of stand out a little bit more. And then of course you got it in the back too. I mean, I typically run with the roll bar down, so that moves that light closer to the ground, which is really nice when you're backing up because it casts it right onto the lawn. So I wanted to point another thing out as far as the controls here is this little symbol here. These units, they have GPS built into them, and they're on the mobile network. And so Greenworks knows where every one of these units is all the time. And what's kind of cool about that too is when you run the Greenworks app, you can call up your app and you know where your machine's at. So if anybody ever tried to steal this machine, I would know exactly where it's at. I just look it up on my app and I'd get it back. There's one thing I wanted to mention too, as far as in my research of these machines, and these are a lot heavier than gas powered zero turns because of the battery, and so it is a consideration when you're cutting like in the springtime when the ground's very mushy from all the melting snow and the rain, the spring rains and stuff. You have to be careful, because when I first got this back in April, I started cutting my grass. It was early May, and I got it stuck a few times. And I was learning how to use a zero turn, but it has that traction to control to get you out of a mess, but it doesn't work that great, because really with a zero turn, any zero turn, once the wheels get filled up with mud, they're going to spin. I have zero traction, and that's something I had to learn, to be going really cautiously over very muddy areas, and because you don't want to be spinning the wheels in those, because then you're just digging up mud and you're stuck. So this past spring I had to pull this thing out several times as I learned the ropes about the heavier model. So just to give you an example, I think it's the Easy Mark, I think it's called, their equivalent 52 inch, but it's gas powered, weighs roughly just over 1,200 pounds, and this 52 inch with the 18 kilowatt battery in it weighs just under 1,500 pounds. So that's a little bit of a difference, and because of the weight, you got to be careful. Of course, they try and offset that with wider tires, to spread the weight out a little bit more, but it is something that you need to be aware of. So let's take a ride. We'll go to the back shed. I want to show you pulling into the shed, and I want to show you how these machines are charged. So this is one thing I really liked about this particular model, is it's not real long. So if you look, my shed, it's not a huge shed, my storage shed back here. I still have my John Deere stored in there, and then I can pull this thing in. Okay, this is one of those outtake, take two things. I guess it wasn't a very good idea to put the camera on top of the rollover protection system, as you can see what just happened. So let's repeat this more safely. So I can pull this thing in, and it fits nicely right in front of my old John Deere tractor, and I just parked these things end to end. I didn't have to get rid of my tractor in case I need it for something in the future. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's what I liked about the length of this unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and charge this unit. I ran off 2%. I was doing a little cutting out there, so you could show you how to charge it. We're at 98% right now. So you shut the unit off. Here's what the charger looks like. It's pretty beefy. I don't know how much it weighs. I'm guessing maybe about 20 pounds or something like that. And then this is the part that plugs into the unit. This is your gas pump, right? Except for it's electric. So what you do is you open this port, open this, push on that like that, and then I'm going to do this left-handed. Usually I do it right-handed, so let's see how we go here. And you push it in till you hear a click. Okay. And then what you do next is you plug in the charger. Now, they provide a conversion plug here, which you can use if you want to charge at 120 if you don't have a 220 or 240 receptacle, and it'll charge that. It's just charged slower. So I have a 240 put into my shed. You plug it in like this, and that's it. It'll begin to charge. What you'll see is the unit will light up, and to let you know that it's plugged in. And I think these, okay, it just lights up to let you know that it's plugged in and it's charging. And you can see how that's pulsating a little bit there, that light. I don't know if that's coming through in this video or not, but when it's done charging, that'll be solid. And then the other thing is if you come over to the display, it tells you that it's charging, and it tells you when it'll be done charging. So in this case, it'll be done at 7:04, which is in 9 minutes, to get our 2%. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Greenworks Optimus Z 52-inch EV mower. It's a great machine. I'm looking forward to many years of service with it. I love cutting my grass with it, and I love presenting this information about it to you. Up next are a couple scenes of just the mower in action. I have one of that slope I mentioned and around the pond. And until next time, have a great day. Well, that was probably the second biggest angle in my yard. It's not that big, but it's just kind of psychologically scary going next to the pond. One wrong move and you're in, right? Let's see what the lights look like at night. I showed them during the day in this video earlier, but how bright are they really? Not bad at all. And here's the back view. See, it's casting some light down in the grass behind you too for backing. Oh, and look, I see that I missed a little strip from cutting earlier. action in, all right?
If my words did flow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung, would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? So held it up. The thoughts are broken. Perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know. Don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air. Rippling still wide when there is no pebble toss, nowhere to. Reach out your hand if your cup be empty, if your cup is full, baby.